As soon as his doctor recommended baby carrots as a replacement for cigars, I was like, boy, he's going to have such a nice, relaxed jaw. My voice teacher would have me putting carrots in my mouth so I could have a more open jaw. So, good for Al Capone. He'll save his voice.
My wheel roams through the forest.
Hello everybody, welcome to Film Fireside. Capone dropped on VOD recently. It is the story of the infamous gangster, real life gangster Al Capone. This story covers the later years of his life when dementia starts to settle in. He didn't live to be that old. I think he only lived to be like 50 because dementia kind of came in and took over his life. And this film is kind of a journey into that time of his life and potentially maybe just dementia in general. Boy, I really wanted this film to work more than it did. This film was directed by Josh Trank. He's responsible for Chronicle, which I've heard was very, very good. Haven't seen it. And for Fantastic, which is not very good, but I also haven't seen. So this is my first film of his. I was kind of excited to go into this being like, okay, Chronicle was supposedly very good. This was supposedly bad. Let's just see what happens. He directed, wrote, and edited this movie. What this teaches me about him is he has a lot of potential and some great ideas. Specifically with this film, this is such a cool concept, such a good idea of a problem or of a situation to dive into deeper and to experience. I love character study films, and this felt like that. Like it could be, or it had the potential to be a little more about what he's experiencing in the latter years of his life. The problem, though, is there's a lot of execution problems and errors. I think the main problem with this film, I think if I could really sum up the main issue I had with this film, is sequentially, things don't flow very well. And even then, certain things sequentially kind of contradict each other as well. There are a lot of examples of that I could get into. I don't want to spoil anything. One of them is very specifically a spoiler. That could have been such a good payoff, but because of the weird sequential choices made earlier, it made it more confusing than like, oh, dang, that was crazy. You know what I mean? I think. And those sequential problems just start within the first act of the film. There's a lot of things that are happening that are just like, why? A very specific thing, too, within the first act that I thought was really random. There's like this weird prologue scene that's probably like, I want to say like 10 minutes. And then the opening credits happen. It was very jarring and disrupting the film. And I felt like, and I thought to myself, if they had just taken the credits, placed at the beginning with zero context, and then let everything happen and just keep on flowing, it would have worked a lot better. At least for me. I think so anyway. I just didn't see the need for putting the credits where they were. The other thing too that was a little jarring, I'm in a weird spot here. So I went to school for acting.
I went to college!
And I usually approach film from that perspective, and I really don't like to just bag on actors' performances, because especially within film, there's a lot of factors that go into play there. I don't want to forgive an actor either if there's a bad performance, because I mean, you know, it's your job, you gotta do what you gotta do. However, with Tom Hardy, I'm just confused by this performance, because it's not bad. It's not bad. I think Tom Hardy, what he does with the character is really, really good. There are specific physical choices, I mean, i.e. the voice. I think mainly the voice. That's just like, I mean, Al Capone may have, I don't know if Al Capone spoke that way. I've never heard him speak that way. Obviously, I assume Tom Hardy is trying to mimic the way Al Capone was, but it just was really hard to listen to at a certain point. I couldn't understand what he was saying most of the time, and it was hard to just hear. It was just really jarring and unsettling, not in an effective way, in a I really want this movie to end type of way. Another way I'd maybe sum up some of the problems with this movie, there's so many things that I don't think had a reason. I was left a lot of time asking why. Why this scene? Why was this necessary? And the more things began to be revealed, even more so I was going, why? The other thing too with the editing of this film, it's really choppy. And it takes a lot, by the way, for me to catch that. I'm usually pretty trusting of logistical things within a film. Those guys bust their ass. I'm in no way, shape, or form in a position to be like,
the fuck?
There are some random scenes where they're just calmly talking, and it's these fast cuts. That's just like, and I don't I don't understand why. They're just so quick. Really odd and really jarring. Another negative thing of this film that I actually didn't notice, my wife kind of was watching this movie with me. She was coming in and out. She sat down with me at one point, kind of at the beginning, and was like, this is bad. I was like, well, yeah, not the greatest. And one thing she specifically pointed out, and I didn't even notice it until she pointed it out, and then I couldn't unnotice it, was the makeup for Al Capone was really odd. She's like, he doesn't even look real. And the more the story continued, I was like, yeah, he kind of looks like an alien from like the Star Wars universe almost. Like with his eyes and everything, it just looked very, very unrealistic and very caricature-ish. I'm very frustrated by this film because I wanted it to succeed, and there are many elements within this film that were successful. There are a lot of the moments in the film where they dive into his dementia and what that's doing to him, and some of the hallucinations he's having, and even just some of the experiences he's having from that. A lot of that is very well executed and very interesting filmmaking, very intricate filmmaking that's really nice, really great to see. And again, that lets me know that Josh Trank is a very capable filmmaker. He has the skills, he has the creativity. There are just a lot of things that just kind of fall flat, though. It's so frustrating. I really want to like this movie more than I do. And at the same time, I also think people are going to hate on this more than they should. There's a pretty happy balance there. There are other elements, too. It's just kind of like theming and things that happen. The dementia scenes kind of help reveal things about his past that are helpful for us to understand now, which flows very, very nicely. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, so I won't really get into those, but those scenes worked fairly well for me. And even the ending of this film, I was like, all right, we ended on a good note. We ended on a pretty solid note. And I think, and after a while, Al Capone's voice, you do get used to it. It's a little jarring and kind of takes you out for a little bit at first. And I don't know if that's Tom Hardy's fault or if it's just kind of the, like I said, sequential of the film that calls for that. I don't really know. It's hard for me to say. Definitely the first act of the film is the weakest. There's just a lot of filled with those moments, like I was saying, of just why I don't need any of this. And more or less most of those things don't really contribute to anything at the end anyway. There's a few plot elements introduced, but other than that, could have been done another way, and also could have been done quicker and just moved right along. It's also not that long of a film, so I would say it's worth watching. You know what I mean? I would tell people to give it a chance, because I have a feeling this is going to be one of those movies where you either love it or you hate it. I personally am just kind of stuck in between. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but I definitely can't say I liked it either. Because I'm just so split in half, my score of the film, I am going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow!
There are some pretty unforgivable things, but there is a lot of merit in certain aspects of the film. I'd be curious to watch it again, honestly. I really would, just because I wonder if there's maybe some things I missed. But maybe I'll watch it again and I'll hate it more the second time. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. Capone, what are your thoughts on the film? Have you seen this movie yet? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Like I said, I think people are going to hate on this movie more than they should, but maybe I'm wrong, and you tell me why I'm wrong on that. Did you like this movie? Tell me why you like this movie. Maybe you like this movie more than I did. Most people probably hate this movie more than I did and like this movie more than I did because I'm just so on the fence with this film. But you know what? It is what it is. Thanks so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Bye-bye.